All right. I think we are live. I'm going to assume we are. So if there's anybody in the chat actually watching, let us know. All right. Well, regardless, we're recording, guys. Everybody, how you doing? Steve, Jason is joining me. Jason Joynr and Steve Rzasa are here. And guys, how's it going, man?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah,
Being weird. It's been a long day.
it has
Kind of
been a long.
punchy. I have one chapter left to write on a book, and I decided that tomorrow morning I'm going to rearrange my entire work schedule and just blast through it because it's killing me.
Nice.
There you go. I had 2 days of
So,
training on how to do audiograms at work.
Josh is here.
So much fun. And I mean, it wasn't fun at all. It dragged and dragged. And I got the final edits done on manuscript yesterday. And then today they went around and asked everybody in the class, like 25 people, what's your favorite sound? I was like one of the last ones to go. And people had said, a babbling brook and waterfalls and all this stuff. And I'm like, the sound of a lightsaber. People in my work are like, you are so on brand.
That is perfect. I love it. We got Josh Smith with us in the chat if anybody can respond to him.
Well, Josh, we will respond to you live simply because of the fact that none of us know really how to reply to the chat. And we're afraid that if we try, we'll screw it up somehow.
I keep trying to connect using my Gmail account, and it's like, okay, cool. And then it's like, nah, you can't do
it. So this is our first time recording live. This is our first time doing live stream. We have no idea what we're doing. But we do have Josh Smith, and look, we have Jeremy Johnson, which is actually me. I'm in two places at once.
That's
but
dope.
The Jeremy Johnson that is commenting is actually my son, Miles. So he'll probably cut. That's
Miles.
Right.
What's up, Miles? No weird faces.
No weird faces, but if you hear him comment with chicken wing or something like that, you'll know.
Hey, I'm in the comments. I can do
it. Okay. Jason is in the comments.
Jason is now the moderator for the comments.
Jason is moderating. And Josh, no, you were not late. I went ahead and hit the go live button because, again, this is our first time doing a live stream. And for those of you that don't know, I have a podcast called Geeky Dads, talk about geeky things. And what I'm thinking about doing is bringing that back, but just doing it as a live stream here on YouTube and downloading the audio. So it'll be very raw. And then that way, I don't have to actually edit production. I can just record the video live because I'm lazy like that. So, all right. So everybody, those are the two people that are watching since we threw this together at the last second. But this is recorded live on YouTube, so we will be sharing it out throughout the week because most people probably didn't have time to come on here and chat. But, guys, we had a cover reveal today, man.
Yes, we did.
It was amazing.
It was. And honestly, there were a lot of people sharing the cover that didn't even sign up for our cover reveal team.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very happy. I thought it got a lot of traction. And, we built our follower count up on Kickstarter. As of right now, we are at 29 followers, which is huge. We usually don't hit that type of follower count for a Kickstarter. I think for my entire Kickstarter, when I ran it back in last June, I think I only had like 35 followers. Jason, what did you have on yours? Because you learned everything where you took every lesson where I screwed up and learned how to do it better than me.
I took JJ and made it better. No, I got up to 60.
Nice.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I basically patently begged people to say, please follow us because it helps.
Yeah. It does. It helps us get recognized. It helps Kickstarter kind of recognize that we got some cool things going on. But we do not launch the Kickstarter until May. I believe it's May 6th. I'll double check. Is it the 5th or 6th?
6.
6. It is May 6th. It's a Monday, so it'd be May 6th. So there is plenty of time to follow us on Kickstarter, even if you're not planning to back the campaign. Just following us helps us out and helps us get some traction. So we would appreciate that for anybody that can do that. So let's talk, because we really don't have much of a plan. And so we're just going to play this by ear, because when you get 3 discovery writers together to write a book that's actually supposed to end up being a short story, and it kind of turns into a short novel 2 years later.
Fine.
Yeah, that's sort of how we're doing this live stream. I mean, we're just hopping on here and we're doing a discovery ride of this live stream, or as some people would call it, a seat of the pants of this live stream.
It almost feels like we're doing by the seat of our pants.
That's right. Well,
let's go.
So let's talk about Interstice Undone. Now, we have blogged about this. We've written this in newsletters, and we have put this out kind of how we got into this mess to begin with. But and I think we sort of covered this on an episode of Geeky Dads, but just to refresh everybody, let's talk about it a little bit fresh. Steve, you and I had done sort of a crossover together.
Mm-hmm.
You had introduced Iggy and Oz into Mercury's world when Mercury came and visited Iggy and Oz in Whispering Pines looking for a magical chest, and that was in Mercury Off Course. And then, of course, I wrote a short story for Havoc called Iggy and Oz, the Green Dragon Pepper. And Iggy called Mercury on that call and asked for advice on how to fix this problem. So that was the first crossover you and I had done.
Yep.
And then I had made Iggy a huge fanboy of Mercury novels. And so that's kind of the history of how Steve and I got to working together. It was nothing planned. It was just kind of like, hey, this be fun little Easter eggs for each of us. Do you have any further comment on that before we introduced how Jason kind of came into the fold?
No, just that it was a lot of fun to be able to do that, because then we're kind of, and I think what made it even more fun, JJ, and I don't remember whether this happened, I think this happened after Mercury Off Course, was that you had then written, I don't know if it was that short story or something else, maybe your Christmas one that you did. Well, one of your stories you wrote and had Iggy reading one of the books about Mercury, which then I was like, well, okay, that sounds like a fun kind of continuity challenge here. So then I went ahead and established in the next Mercury book that there's somebody out there in the Mercury world writing the actual books that the audience is reading, and Mercury is secretly getting royalties for it, which makes Loredana super, super not happy about classified intel becoming fodder for stories. So it just got weirder from there, and I was like, okay, this is great. Let's keep it. Which I think then is kind of how we got into doing the Interstice book, where it was like, throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, I think it was the Soda Pop Wars. Iggy made a comment. He's like, he had just finished Mercury Off Course. He had a Mercury poster, and he says, these are actually memoirs, folks. And I don't know who this Steve Rzasa guy is, but I'm getting tired of him taking credit for Mercury's work.
Yeah, so then I had a whole half chapter in Mercury with Style that dealt with that entire plot point. And if I remember correctly, the previous chapter ended with Loredana showing up with an envelope in her hand. Like, what is this? And he's like, it's a book. And Ramos and Wilhelmina were both there because they were like having this planning session for their mission. And they were just kind of in the background, like eating, watching the two of them fight. And be like, this is great.
Yeah. Now, so that was a history of me and Steve working together. Like I said, it wasn't anything other than just like a scene here or a scene here in both of our books. But Jason, this entire Interstice Undone story, it was really all your idea. I mean, you're the one that initiated the conversation. You're the one.
I have proof. I have proof in my Facebook chat.
Mastermind.
And it goes back further than what we originally expected. This is 2 years in the making, folks, of us just goofing off and then talking about it, joking about it, and then all of a sudden one day out of the blue, me and Steve wake up in the middle of the early in the morning to a message from Jason that says, "Hey guys, I wrote the first chapter, and you know,
Which was
I have
awesome.
this crazy idea," and we're both just like, "Oh gosh, what are we about to get roped into?" And like I said, this
Speak
was
for yourself, JJ. I was super excited. I was like, yes, because I'd been hankering ever since Jason had his superhero guys, his anointed teens. I was like, there's got to be a crossover of some kind. It'd be so cool because I've got superhero guys too. But with publishers and things like that, there's always complications about copyright and things. But then
something happened.
Jason needed a new publisher, and so he had more freedom, and it was like,
yeah.
Yes, now the time is right.
We actually started working on this before Jason got his rights back. I remember I read that first chapter just like you did, and I was just like, "Oh, it's on. We got to do this." I have no idea where this story's going to go, but we're going to do this. So now that Steve and I have said all this, Jason, why don't you go?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing we need to establish is it Interstice or Interstice?
I've been saying Interstice.
I don't know.
It's like tomato.
I mean, I think my grammar nerd wants to say Interstice, but I always default to Interstice. But Steve is the originator of that term, so he needs to make
true, Steve. How do we pronounce the name of this book?
I don't know. Let me see if I can get to.
It's your universe. What do you mean you don't know?
I've been saying Interstice, but that's just because how my brain reads it out loud. I don't have any actual pronunciation.
It's Interstice. Okay.
Plus,
I've been saying Interstice.
I feel like, I mean, it could be Stice. Like if I was going full New Jersey, it could be Interstice, Stice. Come on, you guys. What are you talking about?
We gotta go to the Stice.
What do you want to really lean on? You gotta be like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Don't make fun of the accent. Don't make fun of the OK accent.
We could do the New Jersey one.
Yeah, I'm from Idaho. We don't have accent.
So looking at a couple different places real quick, I see one that's Interstice.
Okay, so we'll call it Interstice.
Like,
all right,
it does it as STIS, I think.
Oh, hey,
Mr.
Hart's
Hart
here.
Says
Is. All right. So
that's 2 votes.
So I've been pronouncing the name of the book wrong for the past year.
All right.
Actually, can we
just say it's regional? Just say it's regional. It's fine.
Can we give credit where credit is due? Because I believe that it was Mr. Josh Smith who actually came up with the title of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give that a little applause right there for Mr. Josh Smith, who actually gave us the title of the book. So
yes, and we're keeping up our mandate of having only people with J names in the chat right now.
That's right. Yeah.
So we have Josh Smith, Josh Hart, Jeremy Johnson, and Jason.
Yeah. So Miles actually logged in under Jeremy Johnson, and so he's keeping it. The bet he is a Johnson. So there you go. And I have no idea what is that? Is that scorpions popping up in the chat?
Yeah, there were ducks before.
Oh, really? All right.
Well, I'm not sure when he says the emoji Johnson. I can't even tell what those are.
I don't know.
It looks like Easter Island heads.
Ooh. All right, Jason. So why don't you take it from here and talk about your idea of how this all came about?
Yeah. Well, I got jealous of you guys playing together. With these little asides, I'm like, well, I want to play, and I have 4 superpowered teens from the Bay Area, and one of them teleports. And I mentioned offhanded to Steve one time, I think I could get, maybe if something goes wrong with Harry's teleportation, I can get into Mercury's universe, because it wasn't really a great way for you all to cross into mine, but this was like the opening. And then, I was kind of in a writing funk. I had a small publisher that had published my books, but with COVID and things, kind of knocked them out. But there was a long delay of not knowing what was going to happen with my books. And so I wrote a chapter one day. I'm like, okay, I need to write something to get my juices flowing. And I decided to start with my kids at a Renaissance fair. They were kind of dressed up medieval-like. specifically because of one of Steve's books. He has some people from another dimension that dress like that, and I thought,
Oh yeah.
well, that would be funny if he thinks there's more people from that dimension coming over, and like, no, they're modern kids. They just happen to be dressed like, medieval times, and some weird phenomenon happens. They're like, we better go get our gear, and so Harry's the teleportation. It's the Harry mobile, and he goes to teleport, and all of a sudden they get warped out of their socks and fall into a park, and there's a playground equipment attacking Mercury and them. And I just got into the park, and then I'm like, hey, look what I did, guys.
And of course, my reaction was just like, yes, let's go. Let's do this.
Well, I read the first chapter, and then I was sitting there going, and all I remember is Steve going, okay, JJ, you got to get the kids from Oklahoma to California. How are you going to do it? And I was like, I have no idea. So what's interesting, and I don't know if I have a copy of it. Do I have copies of my own books anymore? I think I do. Oh, yeah, right here.
I do if you don't.
So Iggy and Oz, the Great Ice Cream Truck Heist, ends with Iggy's dad coming outside at the very end. He's very excited. They're finally going to launch into the idea of looking into Mr. Chesterton. And the first thing his dad says, he says, Iggy, come on, hop in. I got great news. We're going on vacation to visit your aunt near Area 51. So Interstice, I said it right that time. Interstice, Undone, is actually taking place after Iggy and Oz, the Great Ice Cream Truck Heist. But I had to figure out how to get them to California. So in the next Iggy and Oz book, Iggy and Oz, currently titled The Hairless Sasquatch, they go to Area 51. And so Interstice Undone is kind of in the timeline of Iggy and Oz. It's going to take place after that book. So
that's awesome.
So anyway, that's how I did it. I had to get them to California. And the only way to do that was establish in the series, Iggy and Oz series, that they were on vacation. And then that's just another delay of Iggy finding out who the mysterious Mr. Chesterton is. So.
Well, and we had fun a little bit with that because Jason's kids, of course, are coming from San Francisco.
Right.
And they're going to another universe where there's a difference. I mean, San Francisco exists, but there's like it's kind of like the DC universe where there's real American cities, but there's also fake ones. Like Metropolis exists, but there's also, I think New York exists in the DC universe. I don't know.
Anyway. So we got some questions over here. Jason asked, what's everybody's favorite ice cream? Of course, my son says lime sherbet, and that is the truth. He is a big lime sherbet. Josh, the writer, Josh Smith, says peanut butter. That's a tough one for me because I go back and forth. I love like the peppermint ice cream that you get at Christmas. I like that. And I like I don't know. I'm getting boring as I get older. I'm just like
vanilla.
Just vanilla. What's the one with three flavors? Is it
Neapolitan?
The Neapolitan. That's classic right there.
That's right. That's classic.
That's
and
old
so
school.
Moose Tracks. What in the world is Moose Tracks?
Oh, Moose Tracks is awesome. It's got like
you don't have Moose Tracks?
I have no idea what Moose Tracks is.
Gosh.
They don't have moose in Oklahoma, Jason.
No, we don't.
But I thought
we have armadillos.
It's just as sad. It makes me like really sad for you.
It's like chocolate with what is it, Jason? It's like chocolate and marshmallow. It's kind of like Rocky Road, sort of.
Well, I don't know. Well, it must be the Wyoming version. Ours is vanilla ice cream with like a chocolate ribbon through it, and then mini peanut butter cups in there.
Oh yeah, no, ours doesn't have peanut butter cups.
Really? Okay, well, that's well.
Yeah. It's
so whose Moose Tracks is right? Is it the Wyoming version or the Idaho version?
Well, probably Idaho because they have more people.
I was gonna say.
Do they really? Does Idaho have more people than Wyoming?
We're like 1.6 million or something. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Wyoming's got barely 550,000.
Are you serious?
Yes, serious. In the entire state.
Oh, I live in Edmond, Oklahoma. We have like 95,000 in
Yeah.
in just this town. So
our big cities are like 65,000 people, and there's only 2 of them.
oh
So,
wow. Okay. So
So yes,
Josh the
Josh
writer
Smith,
says
ours is vanilla nut double fudge moose tracks.
so
But I think I've seen like a chocolate version of moose tracks. And then there's caramel caribou, which is a caramel ribbon in vanilla ice cream with chocolate caramel cups in it.
all right.
mine is mint chocolate chip, but it's got to be green.
Oh, I agree with that. I like the mint chocolate chip that is green. It almost
Not that the green really, I don't think
No.
actually tastes different, but it's irrelevant. It's just, the
It's
other one's
kinda-
just baloney.
It's kind of like taking Girl Scout cookies, and freezing them almost, the thin mints. So
hmm
yeah.
Well, I mean, I like a lot of different kinds of chocolate ice cream, but sometimes I get the craving for kind of an out there one, daiquiri ice.
Daiquiri
Hard to
ice.
find.
Never had that.
Daiquiri, is that like,
Lime and rum
okay.
flavoring.
All right.
Cool.
Daiquiri ice. Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's
kind of
cool.
like a lime sherbet, but with the rum in there. So you can get it at Baskin Robbins. Is the best place for it.
Baskin Robbins always knows.
I don't think we have any more Baskin Robbins around here. We used to. And
Sad.
if we do, then they're on the other side of Edmond, and I don't know about them. We have
I feel like-
Brahms. Brahms is like the big thing around here in Oklahoma. Brahms ice cream.
And I let us off track because what does this have to do with the book?
Well, I mean, if Iggy had a favorite actually, if Oz had a favorite ice cream, it would probably be like a chocolate chip or something like that, or a peanut butter, like a Reese's type. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we did get off topic, but you know what? Who's saying Red Robin? Red Robin. What is Red Robin? Is Red Robin isn't that a hamburger joint?
That's
I
what
think it is.
That's what we know it as.
That's your kid, man. What are you asking us about it for?
I don't know. I was asking you guys.
Like, bro, we don't know. You raised
Alright.
him. Come on now.
Maybe Red Robin an ice cream?
They might serve. I don't know. They might serve.
Yeah,
ice cream
milkshakes.
there.
They have milkshakes, yeah. Dude, did I tell you about the milkshake I did this year? And sorry, folks, we're way off topic, but who cares? So my wife, I think she found it on a like Instagram reel. Ashley did. It was like I'm a big pecan pie guy. I love pecan pie at Thanksgiving. I don't get pecan pie, I get upset. So every year she goes through the trouble to make me a pecan pie. But I took that last slice of pecan pie, and when she sent me this thing, we put it in the blender with ice cream and milk, and we blended that sucker up into like
Holy
this
mackerel.
epic. I mean, it's one of those things that if I had taken my blood sugar at that point, I probably would have been passing out. I mean, it was so bad. I mean, it was the richest thing I think I've ever drank. It was unbelievable. So, all right, let's get back on topic. So let's talk about how we wrote this thing, because this started out as a short story. We were thinking a short story of about 8,000 words. And then I think we hit about 16,000 words. And we're like, we'll make it a novella. And the next thing you know, we rocketed past 30,000 words.
Yeah, I think we were almost to 40 when we finished up.
Yeah. So it's about the size. It's a short novel. I mean, heck, 40,000 words. Fahrenheit 451 was 40,000 words. The Wizard of Earthsea was like 38,000 words, and that's considered epic fantasy novel. So I mean, heck, it's a short novel. But yeah, we were close to 40,000, I think, when we got done. But that's part of that is because none of us really. I mean, we don't outline in the traditional sense. Like I know some people that like when they outline, they have like this binder of like all their notes and stuff like that. I get it. If you're that is great. Everybody has their own process. I have super ADD, and that would just drive me insane. But that's me. That's just not how my mind works. Hats off to people that can be that organized, because I'm looking for sticky notes for my characters, and things like that. I'm very disorganized, but we're all three, I think, naturally discovery writers, but I think we kind of approach it in a little different. We each approach it discovery writing in a little bit different way. I mean, at least that's kind of how I look at it. I don't know how you guys look at it. So because
Well,
there were days I didn't know what you guys were writing. I had no idea. It's like it was like a sentence. Okay, it was like Mercury's going to go here and do this. And I'm like, okay, how is he going to do that? And then you'd write the chapter, and next thing I know, I'm be like, holy smokes! I mean, so I think we're all three discovery writers, but we approach it in a different way. What say you guys?
yeah, I mean, the more I've written, the more I've relied on outlines just for like a basic framework.
Yeah.
Definitely not like you were saying about multiple pages, but at least a document that's got like X amount of chapters to give me a rough idea of like how long I want to make things. And
Yeah.
then I have my basic plot points that I'm thinking of already in my other notes. So I just take those and start plugging things in, being like, okay, I think I want this to happen here. And then I got to think about like what pieces go in each chapter. But I don't actually have it pinned down where everything goes. And like, for example, this last book I'm doing for Dan Gibbs, I got to like the last 5 chapters and I had, 3 or 4 sections in each chapter. But toward the end, I was like, no, I got to start moving things around. And so I was like shuffling places around. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's just like I write a sentence or two and it's like, that's what happens in this section. But how it happens is like the discovery part for me. It's like, I'll worry about it when I get in there.
I think for me, it's like when you guys would pass it off to me, and I'd read that section where you kind of left off. I was like, okay, Iggy's the kid here, and so's Oz, and they, realistically, kids shouldn't be fighting like X-File type creatures, coming out of this rip, or and I'm like, okay, so when I would approach it, I would say, okay, I need Iggy to just up the stakes for Mercury, DeMarcus, Harry, MJ, everybody. And so I would just I would think of that, like, how am I going to do this? And I go on walks, and when I'm going to walk, I have an app, and I just kind of dictate what I want the scene to look like in my mind. And then I come home and I look at those notes, and then I start building the scene from those notes. And a lot of people, when they build a scene, they'll go, okay, goal, conflict, disaster, and then they'll go reaction, and they'll do it like the traditional like scene building type method. And I'm just like, okay, what's the goal of this chapter? The character's goal. What's going to stand in his way? And then how can I end it that makes the reader want to turn the page, but also leave them laughing if I can? Like, how can I inject humor into this? And so for me, that's kind of how I approach, writing it just in general. So I didn't change that when I came to this book. I did those things, and it was always like, okay, what can Iggy do to up the stakes and make Mercury and DeMarcus and Harry's life just absolutely miserable in this moment? What can he do to keep them from getting to their goal and steering things over here? And so that's how I approached it. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of like a combination of you guys. I consider myself a hybrid writer, and I kind of know basic plot points I want to hit. And, but as the book goes along, they're kind of further out, and you have to connect the dots, and all of a sudden you get doing something. It's like, oh, well, this will work. And you start inventing things and making things fill in, and it gets exciting. And so you make things work. And I really like to try to keep people reading. A goal of mine is really to try not to give them an excuse to put the book down.
Yeah.
Is my philosophy. And sometimes you have to have where it's a little more of a breathing space for books and things, or you're building to the next bigger set piece or whatnot. But yeah, I try to okay, leave it with some tension. I learned from Brandon Sanderson, you don't just, you don't open the door and say, what is that behind, you put a little resolution, you don't be cheap about it, but still you want to have that tension. But I have to say, and I think Steve will agree with me, that the king of that is definitely JJ with that one chapter, that one morning where we woke up and it was his turn to write. And we get this message, I'm sorry, guys, I had no choice. And we both I think, run to the Google Doc to see what on earth did JJ do, because we knew something was up. And boy howdy,
yep.
I don't want to spoil it, so I'm being really vague. Boy howdy did he.
Let's just say that's why you don't stick to an outline in this kind of project, because I was like, well, there goes half of my plan for this chapter.
That was
but in the best way possible, in the absolute best way possible.
And that was a scene where I actually wrote the original scene and I went back and read it. And I was like, I don't like this. I was like, again, Iggy is not up in the stakes. What can I do? And I started making a list. I went on a walk. I just started talking to myself. I was like, what if he does this? And then it just I'm in the middle of the woods over here, wooded area, and I'm on this little trail, and I'm racing to get back to the house, and I'm and so that scene is literally, it is my favorite scene in the book, because it was sort of that aha moment for me where it's just okay, Iggy's about to do something here that is going to totally change the core. And it did. It sort of changed the plan a little bit. But, and that's just the way I like to write, because we had plans to go this direction, and we did go that direction. We just had to alter the plans on how we were going to get there ultimately. And I think that's the beauty of writing a story, and why I don't necessarily like an outline, because getting back what Jason said about Sanderson, he has the 3 P's. That's his outline. I mean, that is just simple as that. He makes a promise to the reader at the beginning, and promise includes genre, and I have no idea what Miles just popped up there.
I don't know, but I suddenly have an urge for seafood.
So he makes the promise, and then he makes progression towards delivering on that promise, and then when he gets to the end, he has the payoff. And I think that was the thing that we wanted to make sure we did is we made sure we pay off. And let's talk about some of our endorsements, because we sent it out for endorsements, and I don't know about you guys, but I was a little nerve-wracked, because I was sitting there going, okay, I love what we wrote, but is anybody else going to get it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is anybody else going to understand our sense of humor? Is this because you don't know how people are going to respond to a book outside of yourself? And yeah, we had Becky Dean obviously was in the chat group with us the entire time, and had looked over the book, and I'm sure we drove her nuts, and we're still driving her nuts because she's still in the chat group. But and we did it all while she was pregnant. So, but I mean, she looked it over and gave us. But I'll tell you, the one that we got several different ones, but one in particular, I think it was Janelle Schmidt. Is that right? Did I say that right?
I think so.
Okay. Is it Schmidt?
I don't know.
Okay. Janelle read it over. Janelle Schmidt, I believe. And it right at the top, she just said, just a portion of her endorsement. She said, "This is the most fun I've had reading in a long time," or something along those lines. And I was just like, bam, we nailed it. And that to me, and that to me was just like, okay, we got it. And when we got a similar type of endorsement, I believe, from Lindsay Llewellyn, who, by the way, put out a stellar cover today with Enclave. She did. I know I'm getting off topic, but she did the new cover that was revealed today with Enclave, and that's a stellar cover. But she read it, and her kids are actually fans of mine and Steve's books, and so getting her endorsement. And as that was the thing, is just like, did we connect? And I feel like with those few endorsements we've gotten back, the 5 or 6, I'm like, okay, I feel like we've gotten there. So anyway,
point of correction, it's Janelle Leanne.
Janelle Leanne. Okay, I
No,
knew there
Leanne
was.
Schmidt. It's both.
Okay, I knew there was. I knew there was.
She goes by Janelle Schmidt.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. I was looking at our actual endorsement sheet there to make sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I just want to share, because we did the cover reveal today. This popped up on my Instagram from Jeneth Lead. Oh my word, with lots of D's. This cover looks absolutely insane and amazing, and I love how I recognize the characters and that they're on the same cover. And did I mention how cool that is? All caps in that last bit. I thought, all right, there we go.
Best.
That's the excitement we want.
And for those of you that are writing a book, and maybe this is your first time writing, to anybody that may be watching this on the recording, the coolest part about, and Jason's got the cover there if you haven't seen it yet. The coolest part about writing, and I don't know if this is true to you guys as much as it is true to me. It's fun to get. It's refreshing to get a royalty check. It's refreshing to get that deposit. It's refreshing to get things like that. But when you have people,
what's royalty check?
Yeah. I'm not going there with you. Anyway, let's move past the antagonistic part of this discussion tonight. But
anyway, it's not any of those things, JJ.
It's not any of those things. The thing that makes writing a joy is those, and these are the fewer things, and sometimes they're a lot fewer than your royalty check, but it's those messages you get where you see something like that, and you see people connecting with what you're writing, and those messages are so important, and they're so few, but they're the things that just said, okay, I have to go write the next one. And so for me, I love it when I see things like that, because to me, it just kind of reaffirms, not that we need reaffirming with what we're doing, but it's encouraging, because it just makes you think, okay, I'm making the right decision. I did the right thing. And to me, it's just that boost of confidence, that, hey, we're not wrecking our careers here. So. Anyway, we have rambled on for 38 minutes, so why don't we wrap it up here in the next couple minutes? Anything you guys want to add about this book that you hope people will check out the Kickstarter on when it launches?
Just that we'll have some fun rewards.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say. Fun rewards to go along with that. So it'll be really great prize stuff. Dang it, I had something better. I'm all worded out for writing today, so don't expect anything clever from me at this hour. Like go see book it fun.
Book it fun.
Me like.
What are we? Do we? I don't know if we've actually solidified this. Do we have like an official release date when we're actually releasing it?
No, I think what we're gonna do is
cool.
we're running the Kickstarter, and then we'll start fulfilling those orders rather quick, because guys, the book is done.
Mm-hmm.
The book is done. And for those that did proofread or did beta reads for us and endorsements and sent back the minor typos that we found, since none of us are really good at grammar anyway, except for maybe Steve.
Hey.
Oh, Jason is. Jason's good at grammar. All right. I am the one that sucks at grammar. Okay, I will admit it.
This feels like a therapy group now.
It does feel like.
Hi, my name's JJ, and I have a problem with grammar. Hi, JJ.
I suck with grammar, and I want everybody else to suck at grammar too. So I, gaslight them until they admit that they actually do suck at grammar. Anyway,
But we'll also have copies of the book
at
hopefully,
Railmakers.
At Railmakers.
Yes,
well, that's what I think should be our release date is July 18th or 19th, something like that.
Yeah,
so
we should
if anybody is coming to Railmakers convention at the Westport
Chalet. Is it Chalet or Chalet?
In St. Louis. Just come down to the exhibit hall for Railmakers, stop by the bathroom, and you'll find our books.
But if you want it even earlier, do the Kickstarter because we don't want to.
Get them earlier. Don't wait for the bathroom. Get it through the Kickstarter.
As you're heading into the bathroom to pitch your book to Steve Lobby, you can grab a copy of Interstice Undone before you head into the bathroom to destroy your author career. All right, because everybody needs to get rejected by Steve Lobby at one point, right?
It's a rite of passage.
It's a rite of passage. Steve, you've written for Steve Lobby and been rejected by Steve Lobby, right?
Yeah, I mean not like like a nasty,
like a brutal rejection.
No, it's more like hey, I've got a fantasy book, and he's like, no, we're good.
We're good.
On fantasy right now. It's like, okay, cool.
Cool.
Nothing. Yeah.
I've only pitched to Steve once, and that was in 2015.
And you're still here with us today.
And I am still breathing, and I've had success. So
I pitched in 2020 at the COVID Railmakers and ran away with my tail between my legs, and still haven't made much progress on that book since then.
Is that the sci-fi one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I may pitch some sci-fi to him at some point if I ever stop writing for Dan Gibbs, but I'm not sure when that's going to be. So
yeah,
it kind of takes a lot of time.
Well, and I'm just going to say that we had a lot of fun writing it, and I think it translates to the page. That we'd get a chapter from somebody and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is great," and it just unexpected things happen. I mean, I know my favorite chapter. Was one is like, oh, I'm pushing things. I'm up in the tension right here. And it's like, felt like the room stopped for the characters. And I don't know. You're just going to have to read the book to find out what we're talking about.
Yep. I think my favorite parts of the book come when Jason's teleporting character, Harry, kind of has his side adventure with another guest character who I will not name as a spoiler because it's a fun extended cameo.
And I'm just going to say that waking up, like you guys think waking up to my message was funny. I remember the morning we woke up to Steve's message and just said, "Oh, Jason, by the way, I did this with Harry," and Jason and I are just like, "Wait, what?"
Jason's like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh, whoops, my bad."
And for like 2 weeks, I think the book kind of came to a standstill because Jason had to go, read up on this other character we were introducing.
Yeah, this other pocket universe.
Yeah, what I gotta say. I
had not read this book. And I had to go read it. Understand what happened to my character. Where is Harry? He lost Harry.
And so
he's with the ice cream.
Steve and I are just sitting here like, is Jason just done with the? Is he not going to write anymore? And then finally, Jason pops.
I didn't think that. I was looking at my watch, like, "Come on, bro. Where's your word count? Rocket, come on."
I was because I was just sitting there, and I was like, I don't know how he's going to figure this one out, because I was just like, all right, well,
yeah, he nailed it though.
Harry's done.
The thing is, I'd never written Harry's voice before. I mean,
that's true.
Out of my 4 teens, I always wrote into Marcus and Lily's voice.
That's right.
I never really wrote.
I forgot that.
Harry and Sarah Jane. So yeah, I kind of had to figure
that
out, and again, figure out where the heck he was.
Yeah. So that's another point for the book then. If you've read the Anointed series and you want to hear stuff for the first time from Harry's point of view, this is where you go to get it. Very cool. I forgot that.
Yeah. And for those people that like read Iggy and Oz and they like the Wizards log, there will be no Wizards log in this book. So you won't get anything from Oz's point of view, but Oz is in it plenty of times. So
we had to try to control ourselves in some areas.
yeah.
And I just think it's funny how we had to get JJ to California a lot sooner because he was like still way off in Death Valley or something. We're
like, it's like chapter 5, bro. Come on,
dude. We're like doing this now.
Yeah, I think I actually did. I went back and rewrote my first chapter because Jason's just like, okay, dude, we gotta get the kids to California. They're still wandering around out in the desert. And I'm like, oh man, yeah, I guess we're gonna have to figure this out like now. And so I actually rewrote my first chapter because I was like, I gotta get them there. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they're just camping outside of town. Why do they need to be in the desert? So
we appreciate your sacrifice.
That's right. That was my one sacrifice for the team. So. All right, guys. It's getting late. Well, at least late for me. I'm in Central Zone. You guys are in that weird mountain time. So, is that right? You guys are mountain time, right?
Yep.
You guys still have an extra hour. So
we do.
Yeah, that's the one identifier of a Rocky Mountain accent. Is we don't say mountain, we say mountain.
Rocky Mountain. Rocky Mountain. Okay.
New Jersey, I think it's more like mountain, but we don't have any of those. We don't have any of those, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oh, play me some mountain music.
Now, Josh Hart's ready to party. This is just getting warmed up for him. But sorry, man.
Yeah, Josh Hart, man, he's a night owl, dude. I don't see how he does it. I'm like, 9:00. I'm like, because I'm waking up at 5:45 in the morning. So, but
Yep, exactly.
So, all right, well, everybody, we will probably do another live. Maybe when the Kickstarter goes live and is funded. But until then, if you watch this on the replay, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate you sharing the cover today. We appreciate your support in following the campaign. And hopefully when we check back in with you guys, it will be funded. And I think we figured out a launch date. We're going to launch it the week of Realmmakers, which I think isn't Nadine Brandis also launching one that week too? So I think the nightmare that nightmare virus or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that one.
She seems pretty popular. We should probably
she's written
maybe has some following.
Yeah, she's written one or two.
So. We should do a short live video thing from Realmmakers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We could do that.
Do it in the exhibit hall with all the people.
That's right.
Hey, vendor hall.
As somebody's got access to a very, huge account on Instagram. We could do it from that. So yeah.
Interesting. Don't tell your boss.
No. And Scott, if you're watching, we would not do that. All right, guys. Real quick, what are y'all working on? Steve, what are you working on?
I have 12 pages, the last chapter to go in book 6 of a 6-book series with Dan Gibbs.
Nice.
Galaxy Bridge.
Excellent.
Space opera. As we codenamed the project, Deep Space Babylon 9-5.
Oh.
Basically. So it's mostly on a space station, lots of intrigue, spy stuff. A guy who likes money a lot.
Nice.
It's definitely not Quark. But,
you are more of a Deep Space Nine guy than a Babylon 5 guy, right?
I was, because I was Star Trek all the way. I'd watch some of Babylon 5 here and there, and I enjoyed it. It just wasn't. It just, I had to pick one or the other.
You had to pick one. I get it.
And there's controversy between those two anyway, and I didn't want to get into that. But I didn't know that when I was like, 17.
Yeah, we don't pay attention to that stuff when we're young. All right, Jason, you working on anything?
Well, I just have to say, Interstice Undone, if we're comparing to Star Trek, it's totally lower decks. But
yes, it is.
Yes,
that is true.
That's right. Love it. I just finished the final edits on book 3, Anointed, the director's cut or the author, the
preferred
definitive
edition.
version.
Preferred edition.
That's right.
Nice.
With a special cut scene or part of a scene. And I'm busy fulfilling, because I ran a Kickstarter for my series to get it going. Thankfully funded successfully in January. And so book 2's ready to be printed. Book 3 sending off for the interior, working on the cover. So I'm hoping that they'll have the series released back to the world in June is what I'm shooting for.
Super.
And yes, it looks like our friend Nadine is launching her book July 16th. But hey, what's a little tag along cousin, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You know what we should do?
What's that?
And I'm not saying we should actually do this, but I'm just saying it out loud because that's the way my brain works, and I'll censor myself later. You know how like they do the big reveal of books and things at Railmakers, like was it Waters Deep? I think Sophia Hansen was one that they did last time, which was awesome. We should photobomb it. Just show up behind each of us with a copy of the book. Not really. Wouldn't actually do that. Steve Lobby, if you're listening, would never do that.
Yeah,
we can have fun with it.
If you have nothing better to do other than watch these three rambling guys, we love you. All right, we appreciate you.
You're taking notes somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Like
so.
I'm watching.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. Let's get up here. We've rambled on.
Wrap it up before something happens.
We have 0 viewers at the moment.
It's awesome.
We had fun. We
did. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you that stopped by, and for those of you that are watching this on the replay, we appreciate it. And we will talk to you guys later. See you guys.
Good night.
Thanks. See